Hi friends, welcome to day 3 of the 10-day yoga challenge. Today we're going to be talking about the Yamas. These are the ethical guidelines to live peacefully with others and ourselves, and it's the first limb of yoga. There are 5 different Yamas. So the first Yama is ahimsa. Ahimsa is non-harming. And this is, sometimes people describe it as compassion, and that's a really beautiful way to look at it. But it can also be looking at how we're acting and if we're harming others, even a step beyond that. Living in a way that reduces our harm to those around us and to ourselves. The second Yama is Satya, and Satya is truthfulness. And so beyond just being honest about, not lying, being honest about who you are is a big part of that as well. The third one is asteya, and this is non-stealing. So obviously we know not to steal, but there are other applications to this beyond just like shoplifting. Not stealing things online, not using things for the purpose other than intended, or not stealing people's time from them. Those are definitely other applications. The fourth one is brahmacharya. This is historically practiced as celibacy, but what it actually translates to, the Sanskrit words, what they translate to are to walk with God. And so the idea is that they were celibate in order to not hinder their walk with God. And so if you're maybe a modern person not interested in practicing celibacy, then there are other ways to look at practicing this, and I'm definitely going to make a video in the future exploring this in more detail. Lastly, but not least, there is aparigraha, and this is non-hoarding, non-coveting, non-greed. Lots of different definitions for this one, but one definition I liked was having just enough, not taking more than you need. And so as you're moving through your practice today, once we start moving, try to ponder these a little. Maybe there's one that's easier for you than another. And another thing I really want to stress is a way to practice ahimsa, this non-harming, the first yama, is to not harm your body with your practice. I often see students pushing their body past its limit and hurting themselves, and I know I have done this a lot in my years of yoga. I have done things on the mat that hurt my body, and so we can apply this ahimsa to our yoga practice. And so if your body's hurting, if there's something that doesn't feel good for you, be very aware of that and do not do that pose. Ease out of it. Look into maybe alternatives. I'll offer variations, and so don't feel like you need to do the one that looks the hardest. Do what's right for your body, and that is ahimsa. So I will see you on the mat. Hi friends! Today we'll be doing a little bit of breathing technique before we move into our movement. So go ahead and roll your shoulders up, back, and down as you inhale, exhale, release. Inhale, roll them up, exhale, release. And then rest your hands on your knees, face up or face down, your choice. And take a few deep breaths. We'll be doing samavriti. This is equal parts breath. So on your next inhale, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Do that one more time. Deep breath in and let it go.
On your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead and feel free to join me in an Om. Om. Now roll over to your hands and knees. Bring your big toes to touch. Send your hips back, forehead to the earth for Child's Pose. We'll be here for a little bit of time, so get really comfortable and bring your attention to your breath. Notice any sensations you're feeling in your hips. Ease into this pose with each breath you take. Begin to come up to your tabletop position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and find cat-cow. So as you inhale, send your heart forward. Exhale, push into the floor, curve your spine like a scared cat. And you can continue moving up and down with your breath here, or if you want to make some circles with your shoulders and your spine, feel free to do that as well. Just go both ways. Move with your breath a few more times here, up and down or in circles. And then step your right foot forward between your hands, coming to a low lunge. Arms will come up overhead, palms facing each other. Really squeeze your inner thighs together as you let your arms come down by your side and then lift them back up. Do that a couple more times. Down by your side, arms come up. Last time. Down by your side, arms come up. Frame your front foot and grab your blocks. Send your hips back, straightening out your right leg for half split. And you can either stay in half split in a forward fold, or you can move back and forth like I'm doing if it feels a little bit better for your hamstrings. Sometimes if we have an achy area, movement is easier than stillness. Bend back into your right knee, frame your front foot, and step back to your tabletop, and then switch to your left leg. Left leg will step between your hands, arms up overhead. Arms lower, and then rise back up. Lower as you exhale. Inhale, arms up overhead. Last time, pushing down and rising back up. Frame your front foot, grabbing your blocks, and then begin to straighten out your left leg, folding in, and you have the option to bend and straighten or hold the forward fold, depending on what feels better for your body here. Release your blocks, frame your front foot, and step back to your tabletop position. Send your hips back, big toes to touch. Take a child's pose here. Know you can always come back to child's pose. Slide your hands up under your shoulders, come to tabletop, and tuck your toes, find downward facing dog. Take a few breaths to pedal your feet here, bending one knee and then the other. And then eventually let your heels reach to the back of the mat, even if they don't touch. Really push into your palms, all 10 fingers, pressing your chest back towards your thighs. And then lift your heels, let them lower. Lift your heels and let them lower. Lift your heels and let them lower. Lift your heels, bend your knees, press your chest back, and then roll forward to a plank pose, shoulders over wrists. Send your hips back, down dog. Lift your heels, roll forward to plank. And lower all the way down, hugging your elbows into your rib cage. Untuck your toes, let your heart lift for a little baby cobra here. Shoulder blades will squeeze together. Let your arms lift and reach them out to the side. Bring them back down underneath your shoulders. And you can do that a couple of times, really squeezing your shoulder blades together. Drop your hands down, come through your tabletop. Tuck your toes, send your hips up high. You're in a downward dog again. Begin to tiptoe your feet to the top of the mat, coming to a forward fold. And when you get there, you can grab opposite elbows, keep a bend in your knees, and just allow your belly to reach towards your thighs. Swaying is fine. Inhale, come to a half lift, hands to your shins. And then grab your blocks, step your left foot back. You're in a lunge here. Place your left hand on the mat or on your block. Right fingertips will peel up so that you're in a twist. Bring your right hand back to the mat. Grab your blocks, walk your blocks forward and shift your weight into your right foot so your left foot will come up off the mat. This is Warrior 3. Now, you're flexing your left toes down to the earth, so your left inner thigh is reaching up. You can keep your hands on the block for support the whole time here if you like, or maybe play with your balance a little bit. Begin to bend your left knee and tuck it behind your right. Lengthen as you inhale. Do that 2 more times. Bend your left knee and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. Now step to the ball of your left foot, spin to the sole of your left foot, and rise all the way up to a Warrior 2. Arms are wide, shoulders pressed down. You have a deep bend in your right knee. Now open up to the side of your mat, heels in, toes out, and bend your knees for Goddess Pose. You can stay right here with your arms like goalpost arms, or start to tap your elbow to knee, alternating sides like I'm doing. This will add a little bit of core and oblique work. Inhale, straighten your arms and legs and find Warrior 2 facing the opposite direction. So bending into your left knee. Left palm will flip up for a peaceful warrior. Windmill your arms down to frame your front foot and step back to plank. Lower down as you exhale. Inhale, rise up for a cobra. Shoulders pressed back, opening through the heart space. Lower down, come through your tabletop position. Toes will come to touch, take a child's pose. Grab your blocks and move them to the side of your mat that you're currently facing. Tuck your toes, find downward dog. Now tiptoe your way to the front of the mat, and again, you'll come to your forward fold, facing the other side of your mat. Inhale, come to a half lift, really lengthening your spine, lengthening the back of your neck. Grab your blocks, step your right foot back for a lunge, and then peel your left fingertips up. Right hand can be on the mat or a block. Grab both of your blocks, walk them forward, or walk your hands on the mat if you don't have blocks, and find Warrior 3. Your right leg is flexed behind you, and your toes are facing the ground. Maybe you play with your balance here if you did it on the other side. Hands can come to prayer or open them wide. And then bring your hands back to the blocks. Right knee tucks behind left and lengthen. Crunch and lengthen. And then last time, tuck your right knee and lengthen. And then come to the ball of your right foot, spin to the sole, rise up, Warrior 2. Left knee is bent, arms are wide. Find your Goddess Pose facing the side of the mat. This time you have the option to do some heel taps if you want to try something different. So alternating heels, you'll lift up your heel and lower it while remaining in this goddess shape. This really works into your inner thighs and glutes. Inhale to a star, arms open wide, warrior 2. Windmill your right arm up and back for a peaceful warrior. Frame your front foot and step back to a plank pose. Lower down as you exhale. Inhale to a cobra. Exhale through your tabletop, hips go back, child's pose. Breathe here, really paying attention to your breath and coming back to it. Come up through your tabletop position and then lower all the way to your belly. You're going to bring your forearms to the mat, elbows up underneath your shoulders for Sphinx Pose. Now you may notice that your shoulders creep up near your ears, so press them down and back. And then inhale your right leg up, lower it down. Left leg will lift and lower it down. Right leg lifts, lower it down, and left leg lifts and lower it down. Stack your palms and let your forehead come to rest on them, and then bend your knees, send them side to side like windshield wipers. This will loosen up any tension you may have created in the lower back from that exercise. Come up to your tabletop position, swing your legs around, and come to seat. Extend both legs out in front of you, and then you'll bend your right knee, planting your right foot into the mat. Now twist to your left, so your left hand can come behind your left hip, and you might even bring your right elbow to the inside of your right knee. Just a gentle seated twist. Gaze over your left shoulder here. Extend your right leg long and switch. Bend your left knee, left foot plants, left elbow on the inside of your left knee, and right hand behind you. And release, extend both legs long. We'll find a boat pose next. So you'll lift your knees up, and with this pose there's options. Toes can be on the ground, toes can be right in front of you, or if you really want a challenge, you can even straighten your legs. The bend in the knees helps me let my chest lift, which is really important in this pose, that we're not sinking in. Option to lower halfway and then lift back up. Lower halfway, lift back up. Lower halfway and lift back up. Hold here. Drop your feet to the mat. Hands will plant behind you. Lift your hips up for an altar pose. Reverse tabletop. And then lower down all the way to your back. Feet are planted into the mat here. Push into your feet to lift your hips up for bridge pose. And you can even interlace your fingers behind your lower back and really squeeze your shoulders up underneath you. If you want to add intensity here, you have the option to lift your right leg up to the sky. Step your right foot to the mat, and then release, lift your heels, lower down. Take a moment to breathe. We'll do one more. Push into your feet, lift your hips up, interlace your fingers behind your lower back, really wiggling your shoulders up underneath you. And if you lifted your right leg on the other time, then go ahead and lift your left leg here for some symmetry. Drop your left leg down, release your fingertips, lift your heels, slowly roll down, back to the mat. Step your feet about as wide as your mat. Knees will come to touch for constructive rest, and you can bring your knees wide here. You can stay in this stillness or begin to windshield wipe your knees side to side if that feels better. And then you can hug your knees into your chest if that feels good too. Planting both feet on the mat, hug your right knee into your chest, open up your hip, right ankle will come to the top of your left thigh, and then you have a few options. You can prop your left foot on a block, or maybe you reach back and grab the back of your left thigh for reclined pigeon. You may even want to grab your shin. Gently pull your leg in towards you, creating a compression, so you're getting a pigeon shape laying down. A figure 4 with your legs. And hopefully you feel this in your glutes, your hips, gently opening up. Step your left foot to the mat, and then keeping your legs the same shape, let everything fall to the left side. Your arms will come wide, and you can even gaze over your right shoulder for a supine twist with a bit of an IT band stretch. Gently come back up out of this, step both feet to the mat, and then hug your left knee in, open up your left hip, and create your pigeon shape on the other side. So you might step your right foot to a block, or reach back and grab the back of your right thigh or right shin and pull it in towards you. Begin to release, step your right foot to the mat with your left ankle still on your right thigh, and then let everything fall to the right side. Arms can come wide. Maybe you gaze over your left shoulder if you did that on the other side. Begin to gently come out of this, stepping both feet to the mat and coming to a neutral spine. Pause here for a breath, and then hug your knees into your chest, give them a squeeze. Maybe make some circles with your knees if it feels good, going clockwise 2 or 3 times, and then counterclockwise a couple times as well. Reach for the outside edges of your feet or even the backs of your thighs or calves for happy baby, kicking into your hands and really rooting down through your lower back, your sacrum area. Hug your knees back into your chest, and then either rock your way up to a seat or roll to one side and push up to a seat. Bring the soles of your feet to touch. Knees are wide for butterfly. And you'll just come to a forward fold here. So you can grab a block and rest your forehead on the block, or you can just fold in and hang out. Your feet can be very close to your hips or a little further away, depending on what feels better for your comfort. Gently begin to roll up, extend your legs long, wiggle up onto your sits bones, and then tilt forward for Paschimottanasana, a forward fold with your legs just right out in front of you. On your next inhale, slowly roll up to a tall spine and then lay all the way down on your mat. We'll move into Shavasana next, and so you'll just lay on your mat, limbs very heavy, and you can close your eyes if it feels good. I'll let you know when it's time to come out of this. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. You can even reach your arms up overhead if you like. Step your feet to the mat one at a time and hug your knees into your chest, and then roll over to your side and curl up into a fetal position. Make your way up to a seat. Come to Sukhasana or any other comfortable seat. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed your practice.